Call in or go to our chat room to get a free reading on my radio show. Our expert guests will be talking about ways to help you in your life. So give us a call and ask a question. Please join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Annette Martin's Psychic World.
Tonight, take an adventure on the Myrtle Beach Ghost Walk. Explore the haunted swamps where alligators and the ghosts from long ago still reside. Stroll across floating walkways beneath the Spanish moss as your pirate guide leads you by lantern and shares 13 spooky tales along the way. The Ghost Walk departs nightly at dusk, only at Barefoot Landing in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Call 843-361-2700 or visit myrtlebeachghostwalk.com for advance tickets. The Myrtle Beach Ghost Walk.
Hi, this is Chris Hillenberg of Hear Women Tell on Hear Women Talk Radio. You can hear us every Wednesday between 3 and 4. Please join us where we get the story behind the story as we talk to professional storytellers.
When you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, home of Zeus Broadcast Network and Hear Women Talk, there's a wonderful adventure that you should try. Carolina Safari Jeep Tours.
Go to www.carolinasafari.com and check out Carolina Safari. Mention Hear Women Talk and get a discount from Carolina Safari Jeep Tours.
See another side of Myrtle Beach. Get wild with wildlife. Explore history, nature, and mystery on a Carolina Safari Jeep Tour.
Hi, this is Judy Collins from Judy's House of Oldies, and you're listening to Hear Women Talk Radio on the Zeus Radio Network.
Police Psychics. Findme.
Welcome back, everyone. Kelly Snyder with Valerie Graham, and our special guest today is Treyce DeGabriel Montoya. And thanks for joining us, Treyce. I love that little test that we did. Maybe we can do one more before the show ends. So keep that in your brain for a little bit later. But I did it when we just started to go to break. I mentioned the part about linguistics and handwriting analysis, and if you could just explain as best you can in the generic terms the difference between the two.
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge bearer of knowledge with regard to linguistics, other than the fact that I know it's a study of structures and the processes of language. It's basically how the language works and how it's organized. So it's more of a word specific, a noun is a person, place, thing kind of thing, as opposed to the actual formation of the letters to write the words. So it's more like a content analysis thing where it's based on the word that they use. And together we work well. I've worked cases with linguists and also with content analysts. And basically, a content analyst will say, well, because they used the word, this word, that automatically tells me that it's a female writer. Well, I look at that and say, well, we really don't know the gender. The fact that they use that word, I don't really care about, but I'm going to look at how they wrote that word to find out what they're really about. So it's more of a, I think the best way to describe it with linguistics is about the entire word, and I'm about the bits and puzzle pieces that fit into the letters to make the word.
Well, in the linguistics arena too, I think the police that are gifted in this or have learned the trade of linguistics can actually take a statement, whether it be handwritten or typed, and still, if it is exactly verbatim as to what the suspect or person of interest has provided, then they can break it down and determine whether or not the person is being honest. And I think even to the point where the person may be honest in their responses, but knows a little bit more, either knows the killer or the co-conspirator they can actually pick up those differences in the, in the statement. So that part's interesting. And
yes.
Val, you said something about we had a question?
We have actually had two questions, but one kind of goes with what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
And you were asked, Tracy, can borderline personality disorders be detected through handwriting?
Yes, actually,
Christine,
almost every mental illness that you can possibly think of can be detected in handwriting. In fact, my newest book is called What's Going On Upstairs, and that's all about detecting the illness with handwriting.
Okay.
Very specific.
And the other, which has to do with both, really, is that Kay said that when, everything is digital nowadays, everyone's typing in their computer or so forth, which results in quote-unquote crap penmanship. And does this change what you do? Is this harder now that people aren't writing so much? Handwriting.
Actually, it's kind of funny. You would think that with this digital age that I would have had less and less casework, but as a matter of fact, it's getting more and more. And I think part of that is because people are assuming that everything's digital, so those that are committing handwritten crimes think that there's no experts out there anymore that know how to do it. So it actually kind of, kind of works backwards for me. But on that note, it doesn't change how you analyze. You analyze it and treat it the same way. But on that note, I will tell you that as long as if your handwriting's messy, as long as it's legible, you are more psychologically stable than people who have the perfect writing.
Hey, Kelly, we're good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been accused of being a doctor several times because my penmanship is so bad. But
that's right.
Anyway, go ahead.
Before you go further, it's MJ just asked us, and for Tracy, can medical illnesses be detected through handwriting analysis?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we can all take a quick second and print the words noodle and poodle, and we can all look at the condition of our heart.
Okay, together? Print them together?
Just print poodle and noodle.
Okay.
Make sure it's printed. And then if you, let's say, for example, you were born with a heart murmur, or you're genetically predisposed to it, from family genetics, heart disease or anything, you'll have a little, on the top, you'll have one of the sides, either the entrance or the exit of the O will be hooked inside or kind of dipped into the middle of the O, or it starts looking like a heart shape. And what that means is that your heart is either, like I said, you're either born with a heart murmur, or it's genetic predisposition. But let's say it is your heart, and let's say you completely ignore the health of your heart. If it is actually your heart and it gets worse, the actual O will take on almost a very precise heart shape in and of itselse.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately not. How about you, Kelly?
No, gosh, I mean, it's...
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible stuff when you think about it. It's as simple as, just doing this noodle poodle test, but...
we better do it on a regular basis, Tracy. Check ourselves out that way, I guess.
What, getting to, if you have an answer or you wanted to expand on that, go ahead, Tracy. I was just going to ask you another question.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was, you joined the Findme group about 4 years ago, and because of you, a couple other experts came into the group. But what I was wondering is, as far as the Findme group, I can't recall any particular case that we've actually worked on where we've used your abilities, but what is some of the most memorable cases that you have worked, whether it be with Findme and or another police department?
I think the most memorable one for me was, it was supposed to be a fun show, kind of like what we're doing now. We're trying to keep it a little bit more lighter, but still informative and helpful. It was actually right outside of Chicago in a rolling meadows motel, and I was actually in Chicago for other business, but we decided to do a cable talk show live at the same time, and I had been doing the Talk of the Town cable show and a few radio shows at the same time, so we were set up in this hotel, and at the time I lived in Minneapolis, so I wasn't from there. I didn't know anybody there really. And it was in March of 2000, and these people would just come up from the hotel and just kind of come up, show their handwriting, and I would do a little mini profile called a quickie. And it would take maybe a minute or two, and you know, it was on the air. It was fun. Well, this one lady showed up, and she wanted to see me when we were on a break, and we had a 15-second break come up, and I said to her, I said, you know, she showed me a happy birthday card, and it said, "Dear Lisa, happy birthday, I love you, love David." And I looked at her, I said, "Are you Lisa?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Who's David?" And she said, "My husband." And I reached out and I touched her hand, and I said, "I feel so sorry for you." Oh, and she goes, "What exactly does that mean?" And I said, "Well, he's not who you think he is." I said, "He has the potential to brutally hurt you." And she kept asking and, you know, pushing and pushing. "What do you mean? He's never raised a hand at me. He's never called me a name. He's never yelled at me." And I said, "Well, all I can tell you is, you know, be very careful and document anything that could, you know, lead to his arrest if he does something to you." So she kept saying, "Well, what do you mean?" And the camera guy says, "We got 5 seconds." And I was like, "Oh, no." I said, "Look, Lisa, he could kill you, and if he does, it will be brutal, so please document everything." So as the camera comes back on, she stands up and calls me a liar, and I thought, uh-oh, here's career suicide. So she runs off, and I don't usually like to dump things like that on people, but I didn't know who she was, and I didn't think I'd ever see her again. Well, that was March of 2000, and in November of 2001, I received a phone call from Detective Rob Swartz. And he called and he said, "Are you the handwriting expert that was in Chicago about a year and a half ago?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "There's been a murder." And I said, "It was Lisa, wasn't it?" Oh, and he goes, "How did you know that?" So basically what we did was he had failed a polygraph, and he had no alibis and things like that, but it was all circumstantial. So they wanted a confession. So what the police department did was they had me pull out his whole personality profile, and then I worked with the detective to pull out interrogation questions based on his psychological weaknesses. He ultimately confessed. But I think the most important part of that is, based on his handwriting, I told the this is not his first time.
Oh, no.
He's too comfortable with killing. He's way too comfortable. And he said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "I can't really go and open something that I don't know exists." I said, "That's true." So we all kind of forgot about it, and again, that was 2001. 2007, I received a phone call from the detective, who had since been wounded and retired, but it always kind of sat in the back of his mind what I had said, so he actually went to the Department of Corrections and interviewed this guy, and the guy ultimately confessed to 2 more murders.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
That's something.
That's my most memorable one.
Well, I was going to ask you when we come back. We're going to take another 2-minute break, but when we come back, I wanted to find out, even though that was extremely disturbing, if you've had something else that was more disturbing than that one. So think about that when we come back. We'll get into that. And those people out there still want to write into the chat room, please do so.
Come on.
Or call us at 914-338-1186. We'll see you in a little bit.
Hi, this is Jessica Dorvaj, host of the Where is My Guru show, and you are listening to Hear Women Talk Radio. The definition of guru is to lead from darkness to light, and one who is regarded as having great knowledge, wisdom, and authority in a certain area and who uses it to guide others. Join us on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the